I wish to remain anonymous for my story. I work for a chain restaurant as an area manager, so I oversee multiple locations in my area. One of the stores that I oversee is a bit out of the way, but it's still considered my area. It's a bit of a drive, but the company that I work for pays for my gas. It's down a divided highway, and there are some gas stations and rest stops on each side. But other than that, it's just woods. I was coming home from work one night, and I usually leave early because of the drive. It was about 10 p.m. While driving down this long road, I kind of thought of it as peaceful. I usually would crack the windows and turn on some music. But tonight was different. It was quickly interrupted by a loud beeping sound coming from my car's dashboard. Oh great. Low fuel. Fortunately, this road did have a few gas stations scattered randomly alongside the road. With about 15 miles left on my range, I noticed a gas station on the right side. It wasn't well lit up at all, but I did notice the gas pump screens were slightly illuminated, so I assumed you could pay with the card. Thinking to myself, this is definitely sketchy, but I need gas. I am not going to break down out here. I swiped my card and I started filling my car up. It took only about 5 minutes to fill up. One car did pass by, but it drove by really slowly. It did have a headlight out, and I noticed that because it took a while for it to pass by. I just figured they were probably lost. I finished filling up and got back into the car and turned it on. I started driving and turned right onto the street to get back into town. But I instantly noticed a girl holding a luggage on the side of the road. Something inside made me want to stop and make sure everything was okay. So I slowed down and asked, "Hey, is everything alright?" She told me her name was Julia and her car had broke down further back. She was trying to get back into town to get service so she could call to get a tow. I thought to myself, I didn't see any broken cars on the way towards her, but I figured I could use the good karma and she seems pretty genuine. I told Julia I would take her as far as the nearest gas station that has service so she could call and get an Uber. In the car, she looked and talked normal, starting a conversation with her about the low fuel incident just now. We chatted for a bit. It slowly got weirder and weirder as her speech began to slow down as we furthered into the conversation. She kept looking back into the side mirror. This made me a little nervous, and I kindly asked, "Is everything okay?" She took a few seconds to reply, "Yes," while still looking out the side view mirror as if she saw something. My gut told me to quickly glance over, and I started checking her out while driving, just to calm my nerves to give myself some reassurance. But this is when I almost lost it. The whole time, her left hand was closed, and I finally realized why. With the glare from a passing streetlight, I saw a tiny, sharp, shiny object that Julia was concealing. But at this exact moment, I glanced up at the rearview mirror and noticed the same slow-driving car with the headlight out was right behind me. I almost blacked out from the anxiety from this. I put two and two together, thinking that I just fell right into a trap. At any moment, Julia was going to attack me. My adrenaline immediately acted, and my right foot slammed on the brakes. Grabbing Julia's left arm, she started screaming loudly until the car reached a complete stop. She frantically opens the door and runs out of the car, leaving her suitcase in the back seat. The car with the headlight out pulls up next to me and opens the door, and he starts running towards me. It was a very tall and dark figure. I couldn't really make out his face. I spared no time. I floored my car. I remember how scary that drive was and how scary that man looked coming towards my car. I immediately called my friend Ryan, driving straight towards his house. I was in tears. I constantly checked the rearview mirror. I wasn't being followed. Arriving at Tom's house, I parked my car in his garage. He quickly calmed me down, talked to me, and then he went to the back seat and grabbed Julia's suitcase to check what was inside. He looked up at me after unzipping it, and we made direct eye contact. His grim expression will haunt me for the rest of my life. He went to dump everything inside of the suitcase onto the ground, but nothing came out. It was completely empty. He chuckled and said, "You really dodged a bullet." That day will scar me for the rest of my life. I still work as an area manager for the company, but I took an extended leave of absence to recover from this. I'm not saying that all hitchhikers were bad, but be very careful when you pick strangers up in your car. Anything can happen.